Howdy y'all, DJTJ here with AOS on Tabletop Simulator video 5. In this one I'm just going to go over how I like to set up my armies, set up my list for games. Um, so in the last video I talked about going to the workshop and basically downloading or subscribing to whatever army you want with the sprites and models. And then once you've done that, you can open that up. Now, once again, if you forgot how to do that, you can watch the last video and you can open those up. All right, so once I've built my list, either using pen and paper, Battle Scribe, War Scroll Builder, however you want to generate your list, I will open up Tabletop Simulator and I go into the workshop and I'll open these guys. So I'm going to get some Night Haunts here and I'll just sort of pull the stuff that I'm going to use off to the side. So where's the chain rasp? Right there. Now you could always just copy and paste them right from their spot. Oh, we got to have some Grimgrass Reapers. Yeah. So once you sort of get them, each of the type of model you're going to use, I'll bring them to the side, and then I'll start generating multiple copies of them. So how do I do that? Select them and Control C, Control V, simple as copy and paste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pro tip: you can, and then if you wanted 30, select them all. Now I have a unit. And the same thing works, yes, and I know I didn't account. You can do them individually, but basically you copy and paste the models that you will need for your army. Okay, you can make them super pretty and stack them in beautiful rows, or you can just have them a mess. It's whatever you want to do. But once I have all of my units, and don't forget the endless spells. Oh, now, if you wanted to take their cards with them, some of these would be outdated. I usually don't mess with it because I'd have the book right next to me. But once I've got my army selected and sort of pulled to the side, I'm going to highlight them all. I'm going to select everything that I want, hover over one of the models, right click, and go to Save Object. Okay, I'm going to show you that again. I'm going to drag a cursor around everyone and highlight them, and that's why I sort of drag these guys to the side. I'll find an empty spot on the board. Drag, highlight everyone, hover over one of the highlighted models, any of them, right click and go Save Object. Okay, once you hit Saved Object, it's going to ask you in what folders, and of course you could have multiple folders, and I would just name it Test 1, and Test 1, and I'm going to hit Save. Now this army has been saved into my saved objects. So you're like, well, you saved it. What do we do then? Well, the next step is we would need to go to our playing board. So I'll go back to the main menu. And when you're saving your army, a lot of times it'd be more descriptive than test 1. A lot of times I'll say, AOS 2000 points, Nagash Petrifex Elite, number 1. And that'll just sort of let you know. I know I play Andrew, and Andrew, he has always several set lists saved. So it's a very handy thing if you're going to play somebody, maybe have some competitive lists pre-built, maybe have a couple of fluffy lists pre-built, or some teaching lists. And that way you're never in sort of a pinch trying to build all your models at one time. You've got those lists made. So we're back to the main screen. I'm going to go to Create. I'll go to Single Player, or we could do this in multiplayer. It's very similar steps. I'll go to Single Player, and then I'm going to go ahead and load a board. So you can go into the workshop and load a board, or you can go into your save boards. I'm going to go ahead and load board 3. And this gives me a bunch of error messages. You can try to import and go and do all that, but the majority of the time I just exit some things out. Remember that these boards are crowdsourced, so there will be stuff like missing skins, and you can always just delete this and put new ones back. Once me and my opponent have sort of figured out on which side we're going to play, I will import my army list. So here's how you do that. You go up to Object and then Saved Objects. Click that and it'll bring up all your saved objects. And I'm looking for Test 1. Now, you can click this. I don't suggest just clicking it. If you click it, and I'll show you what that does in a second, it'll make a mess. It can make a mess. It is much easier to click, hold, and drag it to where you want it. Release. All right, so now those sprites are populating on my board, and it is just like a regular game from there. You can move these things around, you do your setup, you roll for all your things. Now let's go back and pretend that, so you saw me just simply click and drag these guys out. Now let's pretend that you didn't and you single clicked. Well, once you single click, this is what happens. And it's pretty nice because you can drag them exactly where you want to be. Now, once you drag them where you want to be, you can left click and it'll place them. However, it'll also prepare to do that again. So if you mess up and double click or something like that, it could end up making multiple copies. Now to get out of this, you simply right click and it'll bring up your saved objects. If you have any special dice or markers or anything, I have my giant Destiny dice here. You can all drag all that stuff out to your board right now. And of course, you can always go in through the game and drag out more stuff. So sometimes, like in the past, I'll accidentally delete my only black coach, but then I later want to summon it. Well, I might have to go in and load that list over again and sort of just pull out the models you need. So there it is. We have a board. We have a list. We have our extra dice and things, and we're ready to play a game. All right. In the next episode, we're going to go over how to use some of the tools and how to use the interface. I know it's crazy. We're 5 videos in, and we have not talked about that. But now we've got the meat and potatoes. The rest is all easy breezy. Thanks for watching.